So we're gonna wander the streets of Silent Hill at night. Now you'll notice this. Instead of lying figures and mannequins, guess what litters the town now? Nurses. Now, this isn't confirmed or anything, but this is just a little theory I've baked up on my own. The only time that the nurses wander the town is at night, and they wander the streets, and, you know, sexy nurses wandering the streets, night walkers. I believe the implication is meant to be prostitutes, you know. It's a further showing of that theme of sexual frustration and sexuality of these sexy nurses wandering the streets now. They are meant to show prostitutes. Does this mean that James possibly maybe cheated on Mary towards the end of her days? Maybe saw a prostitute out of his frustration and now feels guilt for it? Maybe. You know, there's a slight implication, but I wouldn't, you know. I think really it would depend on how you play the game, because I've mentioned multiple times how you play the game affects your ending. So how you play the game affects your James. You know, how your James is, how he thinks, who he is. So, you know, if you play it really badly, if you play it like a sleazebag, and you play it, you know, like you don't really care all that much about Mary and just about sex, then, you know, maybe your James did cheat, you know. A lot of it is left ambiguous, and I like that, because it leaves it up to you, and it leaves it up to your playstyle. And I'm actually going over here, because I know there's some rifle shells here, and handgun bullets. And the rifle is a gun we're going to get later. It's the most powerful gun in the game. Has a really good range. And I want to collect as much ammo for it as possible, because it will make later boss fights laughably easy. Not that I would have too much difficulty with them anyway. But so what we're doing here is we're wandering. I'm just gonna go back and check. This car looks like James, but it's a different color. It looks like James's car, I mean. So I don't believe you actually have to go over here, but I'm just checking. Yep, all blocked off. I want to get as much ammo as I can, as many supplies. So the reason I keep switching to the shotgun when I quick save is because the game has built-in, you know, weapon choice using the number keys, and for to be able to hit the key easier, I've mapped quick save to the number 4, and that just happens to be the shotgun number. So what we're going to do, you wander for a while until you find this is your only way, which is down this tunnel. And here we meet the Mandarin. Now the Mandarin is a very interesting enemy. You only see it 3 times in the game, and it's this thing sitting under the gate here. Yep. You'll hear that loud clanking. I'm probably going to get attacked by it because I'm going to stop. You can see those there. Now if you look closely, or pause the video, they have mouths on their hands that are connecting them to the gates. And they, much like Mary, I don't know what I was talking about there, but they wear a dress which resembles a traditional Chinese dress, which is why they're named the Mandarin. I'm gonna look at this motorhome, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, nothing new here. So, yeah, the Mandarins, I'm gonna show a few pictures here, just so you can, you know, you've seen them better, because they're really hard to see, and you only see them 3 times in the game. They wear a dress. On their hands, that hook them to the ceiling. They have some mouths, much like the flesh lips mouth, which represent, again, Mary's harsh words, her illness, and vaginas. um, I laugh, but it's actually true. It's been stated by Ito. Interesting thing about the Mandarins. They're a really cool design, but you see them so little that Masahiro Ito actually not recycled, but redid their design a bit and put them above ground for the Silent Hill 3 enemy called the Closer, which I'll show the comparison here. One more interesting fact about the Mandarins, the fact that they are hanging from the floor, they're hanging from the ground and they can't be above ground. The implication is that they are so heavily burdened that they can't be above ground, that they must hang for their life. They're hanging there, and because they have a heavy burden, they have a heavy, much like the great knife, there's shared symbolism there. It's representative of a heavy burden, and what that burden is exactly, we'll reveal later. But it's a certain emotion that James experiences, and it's not sexual frustration. I guess sexual frustration is an emotion. Or maybe it is. Because you can say, I feel sexually... Wow, that scared me. You can say, I feel sexually frustrated. It's a feeling. But maybe feelings are different from emotions. I hope you're enjoying the Lying Figure Philosophy show, where we discuss the dichotomy of feelings versus emotions, and how that doesn't relate at all to Silent Hill. Or does it? I know that you watch this show for the hard-hitting questions. So we're wandering back over here, which is... I don't use the map much because I know exactly where I'm going, I'm sorry for that, but we're going over the letter and the wrench. So, we were here earlier. I'm gonna kill this nurse. We were here earlier because I'll show you on the ground over here. I guess it's a bit further than I thought. Gonzalez's Mexican restaurant. This is the blood mark from the beginning of the game, where, you know, James sees the original silhouette of the lying figure. I'm pointing this out because if you use that quick save skip that I was talking about in the first episode, in which you can skip that trigger and skip getting the wooden plank and radio during a speed run, if you walk back here without having some text on the screen, like a quick save, or what you would usually do is you would skip getting the map, so when you hit the map button it says, I don't have a map of this area, then you would pound the quick save key to preserve that text. That way, because if you get close here, and you have skipped it in the first place, but you don't have any text letting you skip it now, you will actually soft lock the game, and it will destroy your entire playthrough. Which I learned the hard way. This is pretty late in the speedrun too, so that was a shame. So this is the wrench and a letter. Or perhaps you are a fool. The truth usually betrays people. A part of that abyss is in the old society. So this is referring back to that note we found back at the hospital. The key to the society is in the park, at the foot of the praying woman, inside of the ground, inside of a box. To open it, I need a wrench. My patient buried it there. I knew, but did nothing. It made me uneasy to have such a thing near. I wasn't looking for the truth, I was looking for tranquility. I also saw that thing. I fled. But the museum was sealed as well. Now no one dares to approach that place. So the implication of I also saw that thing, either a monster or, most likely, Pyramid Head. If you still do not wish to stop James, this is pretty interesting, because it means he knows, I pray to the Lord to have mercy on your eternal soul. So, we know what to do now, which is head to Rosewater Park with our wrench. And we actually do have to go back this way and run through a gate because it's blocked off if we just go north to the park. So yeah, it's wow. I'm bad at video games, but that's okay. Because you guys don't watch me for my video gaming talent. You watch me because I have autism. So we're gonna head up here. And I'm actually gonna run to the other side of the street because I think there's some items here. If you actually pick up every handgun ammo box in the game, you have to explore the town very well to find all of it, but you can find 550 rounds, which if you use the bullet just to do ×3, I mean that's insane. You're getting 1,650 bullets, which I don't know how James would carry. At the same time, I'm carrying a wooden plank and a steel pipe and a shotgun and a pistol, and it doesn't make any difference. So there's looks like something here on the ground, which is this is just the gate for the apartment, and that's the key that dropped off when I used the key. So this you can find earlier, this writing, but you can't enter this door. The door that wakes in darkness, opening to nightmares. So the implication is, of course, this door will open when it's dark, and it's dark, so the door opens. So this is actually the small little piece of Silent Hill you can explore in Silent Hill 3. And I missed showing this to you earlier, so I'm going to show it to you now. It's nothing important or anything. It's just Jack's Inn. You can kind of see the sign here. Low rates, cable, color TV, kings and queens. So we're going to go in here, and it's usually, yep, here's the car, and it has a save point on the trunk. And there's nothing really here. You can't open the doors or anything. In Silent Hill 3 you can stay in this room 106, but not very exciting. Some people speculate this is inspired by the motel from the 1985 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Commando. I like to think it is, since Team Silent loves their weird American lore. Sorry if you heard that little brrr noise as my phone vibrating. Despite the fact that I have no friends, my brother still sends me text messages sometimes. Am I going to the park? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. We want to go in this other entrance. Juked out that bitch. We're gonna head in here. And much like earlier, there's supplies here. I'm gonna check how many shotgun shells I have. Woo! 91. That's really good. I might just use the shotgun indiscriminately. I do have enough. And I'm gonna get the rifle later, so I don't need to exactly conserve ammo for this gun in particular. So I'm looking for the praying woman mentioned in the note. There it is. Jennifer Carroll. And there's that little pile of dirt I mentioned. The ground is raised up only here. Could there be something under here? Will you dig? Yes. So James is going to dig this away. Well, there's quite a bit of dirt. And we'll find a little box. Small metal box is fastened by bolts. I can't open the lid. So we're going to use the wrench on this. I'm just going to check the envelope. Yeah. Click the right item there. Use the wrench. Perfect. And inside there's a key, old bronze key. We're gonna examine it. I don't think it says anything. It was hidden behind yeah. So, because we, on that other map, which we copied down, the Silent Hill Historical Society is underlined, so we're gonna go there, now having acquired this key. The Historical Society you cannot visit in Silent Hill 3. You can get close, but as soon as you get close you end up, it's sort of it skips the long run around Nathan Avenue. It puts you in the Lakeside Amusement Park. But in this game we can visit it, and that's just what we're gonna do. Silent Hill Historical Society. I'm trying to think of random trivia to share with you, but there isn't any. That I can think of right now. Your ad. We're almost there. This is quite a long run to the Historical Society. Quiet cocktails. Sometimes enemies like to fly over this rail in a comical fashion. We're killing this whore in particular because I want to get this medikit, and this boat launch is blocked off. So here we are, the Silent Hill Historical Society. I used the old bronze key. Sorry, I just noticed something I've never seen before. That I don't think anyone else has seen this before, because I've never seen this cited or shown anywhere. But much like the remember how I asked you to note at the very beginning of the game in the bathroom the Heaven's Night posters with Maria's faces on them. Please note this image here. Please note the interior that it seems to depict. So just random desk, there's a save point, cash register. These doors are knocked off the hinges. And we're in the Silent Hill Historical Society. There probably used to be a painting here, only the explanation remains. Waterfront landscape, Alan Smith. Date of birth and death unknown. A scene of this area from long ago. From the style, it looks like it was done sometime around 1820. There were a lot fewer people then, and only a handful of buildings. So, I've looked in the game files, you can't find any picture for that. If you see that picture up there, it's hard to get a good look at, but that's a picture of it's an old-timey picture with all the developers of Team Silent with their heads edited in. I'll see if I can put a picture right here, so you can see it more clearly. Nothing of particular interest in this case. Now right here, it's a photo of the Wilts coal mine, which is sort of explored in Silent Hill Downpour, although I don't think it's called the Wilts coal mine. The implication is that there's, below the entire town of Silent Hill, there are some coal mines, and at one point they exploded and killed a lot of miners. Not explained in this game though. Interesting enough, if you go into the garden environment in the hospital Otherworld, and you use a camera hack, you can actually see what looks like some very early loosely textured caves. So possibly the Wilts coal mine was originally an area that was meant for this game that they cut out very early. And here's the famous picture of Pyramid Head. Note the cages that resemble flesh lips. And that's Pyramid Head with his spear. And this one's called Misty Day. Misty Day, remains of the judgment. It's him. So I'm gonna sit here and explain something for a second. A lot of people think that on James's last... Oh, that's a good view of the painting. A lot of people think that on James's visit to Silent Hill with Mary, to establish their special place, you know, their vacation before she got really sick, a lot of people think that James probably saw this picture that depicts the town executioner, and that's where he got the pyramid head design from. However, as we'll see very briefly or very shortly, there are pictures in this museum that depict things that are only current. Like, for example, it's in the next room, then I'll explain exactly what I mean, but this picture, for example, an area from later in the game which is entirely impossible. Sorry for my stomach grumbling. Entirely impossible. It's an impossible space. No way it can exist in reality. So when people say that this is where he got the inspiration for the design from, where he got the image of Pyramid Head which is reflected by his psyche, I believe it's completely false, because I believe this is another projection of his psyche, much like the other portraits. I mean, because you need a standard, and you can't just say that, well, this one painting is real and is from his last visit to Silent Hill, and all the others are just current projections, you know. The design for Pyramid Head is very, very set. It's influenced by the town, like Valtiel in Silent Hill 3 has a very similar form, because Pyramid Head is James's Valtiel. But so it is influenced by the town and the town's past with executioners, but the entire physical appearance, the red helmet that looks like it hurts, the need for punishment, the hands sewn together very painfully, the great burden that hurts to carry, the great knife, all of it, all the design, even Ito said, all specifically designed for James, which is why most fans hate when he shows up in Homecoming or when he shows up in the movies when James isn't there, because it doesn't make any sense, you know. He's James's design, so there should be a new design for that character's whoever it is. That character's whoever it is, their Pyramid Head or their Valtiel, as opposed to reusing Pyramid Head. I get it; it's brand recognition, it's iconic, but lore-wise, it doesn't make sense. It rapes the lore. So, good job, Silent Hill Homecoming. So here's another room with a shattered glass case. There's a huge hole in the wall here, and you can hear a loud boat horn. And that loud air horn, again, much like when the one that called Pyramid Head. And this staircase goes down for a very long time, so the implication is that because this is so near the lake, you're actually running under the lake, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, the implication is you are the air horn is again the ghost sort of that sunken boat where a bunch of people died, and we'll read a memo about that later. So this glass case, there's nothing in it. Oh, James is looking at it. Oh, I don't want to pick this up. This only appears, again, this is another one of those rebirth ending items, and if I pick up too many, I'm going to end up getting the ending, and I don't want to do that. There's nothing useful written on it. So, this, another dev team picture. This is a picture of Brookhaven from the 1880s. Yep, 1880. Oops. This hospital was built as a response to a great plague that followed a wave of immigration to this area. It was originally little more than a shack, but it gradually grew and grew. So again, I find this just hilarious. I mean, everything that could have gone wrong for the town could have. I mean, there's a civil war and the Civil War prison, the plague, the native. Oh, sorry. I'm speaking with my hands. I'm getting very enthusiastic about this game, so I keep bumping the mic. But there's the Civil War prison, the plague, the Native American burial ground. I mean, every single the coal mine, the sunken ship, everything that could go wrong, does. Here's a picture of the Brookhaven hospital director. Looks like he was a famous person in the town. So, because that was the hospital director's room that we found that map and note in, there is some implication that maybe this is the guy. But there's some theories otherwise. But I'll talk about those eventually in Born from a Wish. This picture is the other picture like that first one I showed you, and Misty Day, that comes from James's psyche. There's a photo of a deep, deep hole. What could this be? So the reason I say this comes from James's psyche is because it's a room we're going to encounter in a few seconds. And again, it doesn't make sense that these paintings would be from a previous trip to Silent Hill, because they depict things that only can exist now in the paranormal Silent Hill. So, again, Pyramid Head, entirely from James's psyche, with inspiration from the town's executioner, but the whole actual physical appearance from James. In the HD collection, that boat horn is actually replaced with the cricketing sound of the lying figure when it's on the ground, cricketing around, which is just so inappropriate and stupid because they couldn't get this horn noise. It's hilarious. The HD collection is so bad. So this is a pretty long stairway. There's a theme in Silent Hill of just long stairways. Some kind of document is lying here. September 11th, 1820, prisoner number C221. I can't read the rest. What is this? So this is something I've never been able to figure out, really, because it's 1820. So this prison it existed before the Civil War, but it's meant to be a Civil War prison, basically. And you'll hear a loud banging noise. So what this is for some reason underneath the Historical Society, underneath the lake, is a prison. And this is kind of the point in the game. There's some lying figures I'm gonna kill here. This is the point in the game where the geometry and the geography of everything doesn't quite make sense. And it's not a flaw, it's meant to be that way. Impossible space is a recurring theme in Silent Hill. Kick him, you fucking idiot. Yep, nothing down this hallway. I don't think James has a map of this area. Yep, no map. And when he has no map, he just opens the normal one. All these doors are locked. Oh! I was proven wrong immediately. Here's a nice room. Here are some pictures. There's Toluca Prison Camp, built during the Civil War, later became Toluca Prison. So that's really weird. I think that's a contradiction of built during the Civil War versus that earlier prisoner note from 1820. But death by skewering, an execution at the prison, death by skewering or strangling. To choose his death is the prisoner's last taste of freedom. So obviously these images are not exactly real images, since that's the lying figure that's being skewered there. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it better. Here's another image. Painting is hanging here. Crimson and white banquet for the gods. No description. But if you look closely, one of these people, this is a weird cult thing, one of them has a little pyramid head. So, again, whoa, skittering line figures. That's the skittering noise they replaced the boat horn with. But, again, some implication that, you know, James was inspired a little bit by the town's executioner history, but otherwise even that pyramid head I put in quotation marks really because it looks nothing like the pyramid on Pyramid Head's head. So this is that painting was depicting this little whole room, and the fact that this exists here in Nowhere Land, where there's no map of, shows that the paintings, once again, all made by James's psyche. Or most, at least. I mean, some are obviously real. The hole's dark and I can't see anything. But obviously real. I don't want to contradict myself. I mean that they're obviously probably some from James's past experience. Whereas the other ones with the actual projections of stuff he's seeing now are the fake ones. The hole's dark and I can't see anything. Will he jump down? So, another bizarre action by James. He doesn't even drop anything down there to see how deep. And he doesn't even get on it. He doesn't even grab it by the ledge and drop to reduce the fall. He just jumps right down the steep hole. And there's a brief flash of the other world there from the hospital. Interesting stuff. So, I fell down this well. And, surrounded by a wall. It's just a wall. It would be impossible to climb this. So we're stuck. Except we aren't. Because I know how to play video games. Especially this one. And so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to get a melee weapon and bang on the wall for a while. Until you can find, yep, a hollow point. Or sort of hollow. And we find this door. And I'm gonna go through this door in our next episode. Thank you for watching, and I hope you will return to watch the next episode. I've been having a lot of fun with these, and I hope you have too. Talk to you soon.